A young couple is kidnapped after they stop for a bite to eat at a roadside diner. Now they must escape or be slaughtered like cattle. Nora and Alec cruising along a secluded and endless road in the countryside. Nora inquires how much longer it will be to their end point, to which Alec responds it's still a couple of hours away and regrets not foreseeing the lengthy drive. Nora questions when they will come across a place to stop next, but Alec isn't certain. Despite her need to use the restroom, she declines Alec's suggestion to stop by the roadside, preferring a proper rest area instead. Upon arriving at a rest stop that appears totally deserted and isolated, they park in front of the facility and attempt to get someone's attention, but to no avail. Nora decides to check the back of the building, while Alec opts to stay with the car. Her worry escalates upon discovering a wallet and a mobile phone lying next to an unused campfire. Oblivious to a human skull nearby, she quickly takes care of her needs. They resume their journey and suddenly spot a woman stranded in the road center. Alec halts the car and inquires about her vehicle's issue. She cannot explain why her car stopped working. He suggests using cables from his car to help. Meanwhile, Nora engages the stranded woman in conversation. The woman abruptly questions Nora about her missing ring, catching Nora off guard with such blunt curiosity. Their exchange quickly sours, escalating into a confrontation. Nora becomes upset and informs the woman that their stop was meant to assist her, to which the woman counters she never sought their help. Irritated, Nora signals Alec to return to the car, and they depart, leaving the woman behind. They soon reach another stop, deciding to grab some food. A waitress approaches, praising Nora. While eating, Alec notices they're being observed by a peculiar man. Nora dismisses his concern, suggesting their unfamiliarity to the area might be attracting attention. As they prepare to leave, the man unexpectedly seizes Nora's arm, warning them of danger. This alarms Nora, and Alec quickly steps in. They hasten back to their car and drive away. Curious, Alec inquires about the man's warning, but Nora brushes it off as unimportant. They later stop at a gas station, inquiring about overnight accommodations. The attendant suggests a nearby cabin they can rent, watching them leave with a suspicious gaze. On their way, Nora expresses to Alec her desire to inspect the cabin first before making a decision to stay. Upon their arrival, Nora feels uneasy about the cabin and shares her discomfort with Alec. He reassures her, pointing out the numerous parked cars as a sign of safety. Inside, despite seeing signs of occupancy like dirty plates, Nora's apprehension doesn't fade. Alec attempts to calm her by suggesting the presence of others based on these signs. Exploring the place, they can't find anyone until they venture upstairs and encounter a man with a scarred face. He offers to guide them to their room. Nora is visibly not pleased but follows along with Alec. The owner shows them around, mentioning he used to rent the place to Boy Scouts and church groups. He shares that he inherited the cabin from a woman named Mrs. Anderson, who passed away 4 years earlier. As the man drones on, Nora, feeling overwhelmed and tired, politely asks him to leave them to rest. This seems to upset him, and he leaves somewhat abruptly. Alec criticizes Nora for her rudeness towards the man, to which she responds that she found him repelling and overly talkative. While they discuss this, they overlook a significant detail: one of the beds in their room is stained with blood. Exhausted from the day's events, the couple eventually decides to go to bed, oblivious to the unsettling clue in their room. While the couple is asleep, they don't realize there's someone hiding under their bed. This person emerges, wearing a chilling sheet mask, and observes them closely as they sleep. Nora, upon awakening, finds herself confined within a cage, her attempts to escape futile. Suddenly, a man donning a goat mask approaches, pounding on the cage, demanding her silence before departing. Seizing the opportunity, Nora picks up a small stone, attempting to unlock her cage. Shortly after, another individual appears, this one wearing a cow mask, leaving Nora bewildered by the unfolding events. The next moment, Nora is discovered in a barn, bound at her hands and feet, in a vulnerable position. A figure wearing a rabbit mask then enters and administers an injection, causing Nora to scream and struggle helplessly. She vehemently questions the man's actions, receiving no response as he exits silently. Later, the two men return, releasing Nora from her restraints, yet she is too exhausted to resist. They lift her, placing her back into the cage. Outside, she is placed within another cage and transported to a different location. As Nora is being transported, she notices an entire society of individuals donning animal masks, each engaged in different activities. She is then left in a stable, growing anxious about her fate. In a subsequent scene, it's shown that all the captured men have been confined in small cages. When Alec regains consciousness, he realizes he's been fitted with a muzzle, rendering his screams useless. He observes the silent resignation of the other men around him. Suddenly, 3 individuals enter, subdue one of the men with a pole, and then strike him with a hammer. They repeat this violent act on another captive as Alec watches in terror. Feeling helpless and panicked, Alec starts to violently shake his cage, drawing the attention of the attackers. In an attempt to defend himself, he is quickly subdued with a blow to the head, rendering him unconscious. The men gather them onto a cart and transport them to a slaughterhouse. Meanwhile, a man wearing a pig mask is seen carrying a plastic bag filled with human parts, strolling through the town nonchalantly. He greets another individual and places the bag in his office. They then retrieve another prisoner from his car and move them to the stable. Next, we see the man wearing a pig mask heading to a meeting, where it's revealed that the individual with a scarred face is actually in charge. He instructs the pig-masked man to arrange meals for 80 individuals within 3 hours due to an impending deadline. Following this, he forcefully enters the kitchen, urging the staff to hasten the meal preparation. A phone call from the client informs them of an earlier pickup time than planned. In response, the leader suggests utilizing dairy livestock due to a shortage of meat. The scene shifts to show women in cages with suction devices attached to them. The man in the pig mask is then seen taking a newborn from one of the women. Andrew from the gas station attempts to console the grieving mother, who angrily lashes out at him. It's indicated that the farm's sinister operation includes impregnating women to harvest milk and meat. Suddenly, an emergency call summons the men to the stables, where they find a deceased woman with a wooden stake in her heart and Andrew's name inscribed on it. The leader commands a search for him. Meanwhile, Nora hears coughing from the adjacent stall, discovering a woman who has been captive for 2 years. This woman shares with Nora her harrowing experience of being forced into pregnancy for milk production. She reveals that the farm's operations equate human beings to livestock, and due to numerous miscarriages, she can no longer conceive. Upon hearing from the woman next to her that escape is futile, Nora panics, unsure of what to do next. Then, she hears sobs from another stall, where she meets Ashley, a girl taken 2 weeks prior. The farm's leader orders his crew to eliminate a woman who can no longer lactate. They proceed to the adjacent stall, release the woman, and terminate her. Witnessing this, Nora is petrified, retreating in fear until they depart. Her terror peaks when someone enters her stall, but it's Alec, determined to rescue her. He insists on an immediate departure for any hope of escape. Stealthily, they exit the stable and stumble upon a truck. Nora attempts to start it but attracts attention, forcing them to flee on foot. With Alec injured, they find a hiding spot, narrowly avoiding the pursuer who is distracted by a bell sound. Continuing their escape, they spot a church and enter, hoping to find assistance. Inside, they discover a mural depicting Jesus and his disciples, but with a twist, all faces are replaced with animal masks, mirroring the farm's inhabitants. Nora secures a sharp item, and as they spot a cow-masked man entering the church, she and Alec quickly conceal themselves. While the man prays, they attempt to slip away, but the creaky floorboards betray their presence, catching his attention. Reacting swiftly, the man sounds the alarm by ringing the church bell, rallying everyone at the farm. As they dash across a field, Alec's leg is ensnared by a bear trap. Despite her efforts to release him, Nora spots men nearing and is forced to leave Alec behind. Looking back, she witnesses the masked individuals fatally crushing Alec with a large stone, an act that leaves her in agony. Heartbroken yet driven by the need to survive, Nora flees to a nearby stable, where she finds a man caged. He advises her of a bus utilized by the masked community for transport, directing her to the office for the keys. She leaves the stable, desperate for escape. Curiously, as Nora evades detection across the farm, Andrew and the farm's leader observe from a distance. Nora continues her cautious trek, seeking refuge and a way out. Nora spots a masked individual driving off and chooses to tail him. At the gas station, she grabs a hammer and confronts the man as he exits the car, striking him on the head and neutralizing the threat. However, her victory is brief as she sees a group of masked men charging towards her. She jumps into the car, struggling to start it. Just as the men nearly reach her, she successfully drives away, glimpsing one of the men through the rearview mirror, and sighs in relief. Yet her happiness is fleeting when the car engine fails, forcing her to continue on foot. Fleeing for her life as the masked men gain on her, Nora opts for a building, finding her way to the basement. Spotting a window, she frantically works to open it. The men almost capture her, but she manages to escape through the window, even as one grabs her foot. She defends herself with the sharp tool she has, stabbing the attacker's hand to free herself. Outside, she finds the bus she was informed about. Remembering Ashley was confined nearby, Nora decides to rescue her. Upon finding Ashley, she urges her to escape together. Terrified, Ashley initially refuses, but Nora convinces her, and they both board the bus. Starting the engine, Nora smiles, relieved at their escape. Nora's deepest fears materialize when she discovers the bus filled with silent, masked individuals. The film concludes with a haunting scene where Nora and Ashley are presented to the community, mouths gagged with apples, marking a chilling finale. The end. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like our channel and subscribe if you enjoy content like this. Also, let us know what movie you would love us to recap for you.